In those days also saw I Jews that had married wives of Ashdod, of Ammon, and of Moab. And their children spake half in the speech of Ashdod, and could not speak in the Jews' language, but according to the language of each people. And I contended with them, and cursed them, and smote certain of them, and plucked off their hair, and made them swear by God, saying, Ye shall not give your daughters unto their sons, nor take their daughters unto your sons, or for yourselves. Did not Solomon king of Israel sin by these things? Yet among many nations was there no king like him, who was beloved of his God, and God made him king over all Israel. Nevertheless, even him did outlandish women cause to sin. Shall we then hearken unto you to do all this great evil, to transgress against our God in marrying strange wives? And one of the sons of Joiada, the son of Eliashib the high priest, was son-in-law to Sanballat the Horonite. Therefore I chased him from me. Remember them, O my God, because they have defiled the priesthood, and the covenant of the priesthood, and of the Levites. Thus cleansed I them from all strangers, and appointed the wards of the priests and the Levites, everyone in his business, and for the wood offering, at times appointed, and for the first fruits. Remember me, O my God, for good. The covenant relationship. The covenant relationship between the Most High and Israel was understood to be exclusive, with the Israelites commanded to distinguish themselves from other nations through their worship practices and societal laws. Marrying foreign women, who did not share the covenant obligations and might worship other gods, was seen as a violation. Preservation of religious purity. The primary reason for Nehemiah's and Ezra's opposition to marriages with foreign women was the threat these marriages posed to the religious purity of the Israelite community. They were concerned that these unions would lead to the introduction and eventual acceptance of idolatrous practices and beliefs from surrounding pagan cultures, which would undermine the worship of the Most High. Loss of pedigree records. Marrying foreign women was also seen as problematic because it could lead to the loss of clear Israelite lineage, which was crucial for maintaining the identity of the priestly class and for tribal affiliations. This concern is particularly relevant in the post-exilic period, when the community was trying to re-establish itself and its connections to its ancestral traditions and obligations. The covenant relationship. The covenant relationship between the Most High and Israel was understood to be exclusive, with the Israelites commanded to distinguish themselves from other nations through their worship practices and societal laws. Marrying foreign women, who did not share the covenant obligations and might worship other gods, was seen as a violation of this exclusivity. The narrative of God choosing specific individuals to lead and become the progenitors of the Israelites, starting with Isaac over Ishmael and Jacob over Esau, is a foundational theme in the understanding of the Israelites as God's chosen people. This theme of divine selection is further expounded in the New Testament, particularly in Romans 9:19-24, through the metaphor of the potter and the clay. And God said, Sarah thy wife shall bear thee a son indeed, and thou shalt call his name Isaac, and I will establish my covenant with him for an everlasting covenant, and with his seed after him. And as for Ishmael, I have heard thee. Behold, I have blessed him, and will make him fruitful, and will multiply him exceedingly. 12 princes shall he beget, and I will make him a great nation. But my covenant will I establish with Isaac, which Sarah shall bear unto thee at this set time in the next year. After roaming the wilderness for some time, Ishmael and his mother settled in the desert of Paran, where he became an expert in archery. Eventually, his mother found him a wife from the land of Egypt. Ishmael became the father of the Arab nation. Though diverse, many of the modern-day Arabs are a mixture of Persian, Edomite Greeks, Turkish, Egyptian, and African due to migration and the Arab conquest. The narrative of Jacob and Esau underscores the theme of divine selection within the broader context of the Israelites' history. This theme is vividly illustrated in the account of their birth and God's prophecy to their mother, Rebekah. Before they were born, God told Rebekah that the older would serve the younger, Genesis 25:23. And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels, and the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. The culmination of this divine selection is seen in Jacob's name changed to Israel, after wrestling with God, which marks the genesis of the Israelite nation through his descendants. This transition from Jacob to Israel signifies a transformation both in character and in the covenantal relationship with God, emphasizing the idea that the Israelites are chosen and formed by God's will. Jacob became the father of the 12 tribes, which would later be cursed and scattered around the world. Because of the scattering, Israelite males have impregnated foreign women, and the seed line of Jacob has been planted in diverse wombs, including those of Arabic, Persian, African, Caucasian, Asian, and East Indian women. As for Esau, Isaac would bless Esau. Genesis 27:39-40 states, And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of heaven from above. And by thy sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. Esau did have a melanated wife, among them Judith, the daughter of Beeri the Hittite, and Basemath, the daughter of Elon the Hittite. There are many clans within the Edomite nation. These sons planted their seeds in Persian and Turkish women, and his mark still remains. He fathered sons and grandsons who became the leaders or chiefs of Edom. There are many clans within the Edomite nation. These sons planted their seeds in women of Japheth, Persian women, and Turkish women, and his mark still remains. The unique skin pigment and genetically hairy condition are the marks of Edom. The Most High made sure he could be found and exposed before the great and dreadful day. Certain clans of Edom did follow the black Hebrews into the ancient lands of Britain and Europe, serving the Israelites but later conquering the black Europeans and taking on their legacy and building great nations out of Europe. Esau would be the father of the Caucasian race. God had marked him with unique genetic traits, aggressive skills, and ingenuity, the master colonizer of the world.
In the narrative of God's chosen people, the concept of a faithful remnant, those who are predestined to follow Christ, plays a pivotal role. This essay delves into the scriptural basis for this idea, demonstrating how despite dispersal among nations, the seed line of the chosen remains intact, ready to respond to God's call. The scriptural foundation of the remnant. The Bible introduces the concept of a remnant, a group steadfast in their dedication to God, even in the face of widespread apostasy. For instance, in 1 Kings 19:10, we find Elijah feeling utterly alone in his devotion to God. Yet, the Lord reveals to him that 7,000 in Israel have not bowed to Baal, symbolizing a remnant faithful to God amidst idolatry. This account emphasizes that, regardless of perceived isolation, a divine remnant always exists. In the New Testament, Romans 11:3 reiterates this theme, with Paul referencing Elijah's lament to highlight that God has preserved a remnant chosen by grace even within Israel's disbelief. This passage underlines the continuity of God's saving grace throughout history. John 10:27-28 offers comforting assurance from Jesus. My sheep listen to my voice. I know them, and they follow me. I give them eternal life, and they shall never perish. No one will snatch them out of my hand. This promise encapsulates the intimate relationship between Christ and his followers, defining the remnant as those who hear and follow him, secure in their salvation. Matthew 22:14 succinctly captures the essence of divine selection. For many are called, but few are chosen. This verse highlights the discerning nature of God's call, focusing on those who respond with genuine faith and commitment. The scattering and the preservation of the seed line. The dispersion of the Israelites across the globe might seem like a fracturing of God's people, but it serves a divine purpose. The parable of the sheep and the goats in Matthew 25, 31. 46 illustrates the ultimate gathering and judgment of mankind, distinguishing between those who have lived righteously and those who have not. This separation is emblematic of the spiritual lineage that defines God's true followers beyond mere ancestry. The life of Bob Marley, though seemingly unrelated, offers a modern reflection on the scattered seedline of Israel. Despite his Irish descent, Marley's spiritual and cultural legacy resonates with the identity of the Israelite remnant. This connection is further enriched by historical ties between ancient Israelites, Phoenicians, and European Celts, as seen in the seafaring exploits of the tribe of Dan, Judges 5:17. These narratives, including the migration of the Danites to Ireland, encapsulate the broader theme of God's people, dispersed yet preserved, their identity manifesting in diverse ways across the globe.
Hellenists, holy disciples, Levitical priests, Nazirites, Essenes, Pharisees. The sons of Levi. The sons of Levi, Gershon, Kohath, and Merari. And the sons of Kohath, Amram, Izhar, and Hebron, and Uziel. And the children of Amram, Aaron and Moses, and Miriam, the sons also of Aaron, Nadab, and Abihu, Eleazar, and Ithamar. Eleazar begat Phinehas, Phinehas begat Abishua. And Abishua begat Buki, and Buki begat Uzi. And Uzi begat Zerahiah, and Zerahiah begat Meraioth. Meraioth begat Amariah, and Amariah begat Ahitub. And Ahitub begat Zadok, and Zadok begat Ahimaaz. And Ahimaaz begat Azariah, and Azariah begat Johanan. And Johanan begat Azariah. He it is that executed the priest's office in the temple that Solomon built in Jerusalem. And Azariah begat Amariah, and Amariah begat Ahitub. And Ahitub begat Zadok, and Zadok begat Shallum. And Shallum begat Hilkiah, and Hilkiah begat Azariah. And Azariah begat Sariah, and Sariah begat Jehozadak. And Jehozadak went into captivity, when the Lord carried away Judah and Jerusalem by the hand of Nebuchadnezzar. The sons of Levi, Gershom, Kohath, and Merari. And these be the names of the sons of Gershom, Libni, and Shimei. And the sons of Kohath were Amram, and Izhar, and Hebron, and Uzziel. The sons of Merari, Mahli, and Mushi. And these are the families of the Levites according to their fathers. Of Gershom, Libni his son, Jahath his son, Zimmah his son. Joah his son, Iddo his son, Zerah his son, Jedirai his son. The sons of Kohath, Aminadab his son, Korah his son, Asir his son. Elkanah his son, and Ebiasaph his son, and Asir his son. Tahath his son, Uriel his son, Uzziah his son, and Shaul his son. And the sons of Elkanah, Amasai, and Ahamath. As for Elkanah, the sons of Elkanah, Zophai his son, and Nahath his son. Eliab his son, Jeroham his son, Elkanah his son. And the sons of Samuel, the firstborn Vashni, and Abiah. The sons of Merari, Mahli, Libni his son, Shimei his son, Uzzah his son, Shemaiah his son, Haggiah his son, Asaiah his son. A screenshot was taken of one of the slave names databases from the transatlantic slave trade. Clearly, these slaves have Hebrew names, providing compelling proof of who they were and where they really came from. Decoding 2 Chronicles 7:14, Dr. Yehoshua ben Ephraim, slavevoyages.org, reference. Nyamoli Enya, age 27, male origin Ibu or Hebrew. The ship name is Anna Maria Arrival 1821, Freetown. Enya, age 21, male origin Calabar. The ship name is Anna Maria Arrival 1821, Freetown. Inya, age 28, male origin Calabar. The ship name is Anna Maria Arrival 1821, Freetown. Yaho, age 26, male origin Ibu, Hebo. The ship name is Anna Maria Arrival 1821, Freetown. Achaia, age 16, female origin Ibu, Hebo. The ship name is Anna Maria Arrival 1821, Freetown. Hanya, age 26, male origin Ibu, Hebo. The ship name is Anna Maria, arrival 1821, Freetown. Hanya, age 23, male origin. The ship name is Donna Eugenia, arrival 1825, Freetown. Benea, age 19, woman origin Calabar. The ship name is Constante, arrival 1821, Freetown. Honya, age 10, woman origin Calabar. The ship name is Nes de Caridad, arrival 1821, Freetown. Enya, age 10, woman origin Ibu, Hebu. The ship name is Enes de Caridad, arrival 1821, Freetown. Tayaho, age 26, woman origin Tola. The ship name is Conde de Villafior, arrival 1822, Freetown. Kuya, age 24, male origin Tola. The ship name is Estrala, arrival 1822, Freetown. Higaya, age 14, girl origin Tola. The ship name is Aviso, arrival 1822, Freetown. Bunya, age 22, man origin Tola. The ship name is Bella Eliza, arrival 1824, Freetown. Kardaya, age 11, girl origin Tola. The ship name is Bella Eliza, arrival 1824, Freetown. Yarya, age 25, male origin Lagos. The ship name is Espanola, arrival 1824, Freetown. Barbanya, age 26, male origin. The ship name is Espanola, arrival 1825, Freetown. Yafi, age 26, male origin. The ship name is Espanola, arrival 1825, Freetown. Danya, age 29, male origin. The ship name is Espanola, arrival 1825, Freetown.
different time frame. And I think you would be wise to see if God is with me, and if God is with me, you would be well to leave me alone.
You don't trust the media, you've said so. You don't trust whites, you've said so. You don't trust Jews, you've said so. Well, here I am, white, Jewish, and a reporter. So why in the world did you trust me enough to sit down to talk to me this way,
Well,
Minister Farrakhan?
Let me say this. I would not say that all whites and all Jews and all media are untrustworthy. That is not a fair characterization of my
That's
thinking.
the perception of a lot
Fine.
of people in America.
Perception is not necessarily real.
Of reconciliation, it's bound to be perceived as anti-Semitic, and you know it, and you do it over and over again.
I quoted, the synagogue of Satan is part of a scripture in the book of Revelations, the 2nd chapter and the 3rd chapter. It says, and I quote, those who say they are Jews and are not, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan.
The people you're talking to there, the people who saw that on television, they aren't students of the Bible as you are. They don't know the scripture as you do. What they hear, what I heard, was overtones of absolute, you were sticking it to the Jews once again.
In reality, Mr. Wallace, you know, I've heard whites and Jews say they're good and bad in every race.
Yeah.
And if they're good and bad in every race, does that not apply to Jews? Are there good Jews and are there bad Jews? And if there are good Jews, what constitutes a good Jew?
Give me a list of a half a dozen good Jews.
No. Only God knows who the good are. There are good appearing Muslims, there are good appearing Christians, there are good appearing Jews, but God knows who is good. And so the good are those who live by the standard that makes you a Jew. Once you deviate from that standard, you're not a Jew anymore, from my vantage point.
Have you talked about bad Muslims?
Of course.
Who?
There are bad Muslims. There are Muslims who deviate from the path of God. I'm not anti-Semitic. I do not hate Jews. I want this to be very clear. I do not hate Jews. I do not hate people because their skin is white. What I hate is evil and injustice and exploitation, whether a black does it, whether a white does it, whether a Jew, a Muslim, or a Christian does it.
The Secret Relationship Between Blacks and Jews is a book published in 1991 by the Nation of Islam. It asserts that Jews played a major role in the Atlantic slave trade, claiming they were disproportionately responsible for the enslavement of African peoples. However, critics argue that the book promotes anti-Semitism and is not factual. According to the Most High, "Prove all things" is a phrase from the Bible, 1 Thessalonians 5:21. A summary of the book details the Jewish hand in the Black Holocaust of Black people. The Black Holocaust.
Jews were known to free their black chattel, but only after they became elderly and unable to work, forcing them to fend for themselves in their old age. Jews bequeathed black human beings from one generation to another, and they sold black children and babies away from their parents. Jews suppressed slave uprisings, and in 1831, Jews were involved in hunting down the great Nat Turner and his freedom fighters. Dr. Harold Brackman wrote, Jews were about twice as likely to be slave owners as the average white Southerner. The first Jew elected to the U.S. Senate, Florida's David Yulee, was one of the most strident haters of Indians and defenders of slavery. Jews suppressed slave uprisings, and in 1831, Jews were involved in hunting down the great Nat Turner and his freedom fighters. The first Jew elected to the U.S. Senate, Florida's David Yulee, was one of the most strident haters of Indians and defenders of slavery. Dr. Harold Brackman wrote, Jews were about twice as likely to be slave owners as the average white Southerner. Rabbi and historian Dr. Bertram W. Korn, the acknowledged expert on 19th century American Jewry, wrote, "It would seem to be realistic to conclude that any few who could afford to own slaves and had need for their services would do so. Jews participated in every aspect and process of the exploitation of the defenseless blacks. The first Hebrew poem written in the New World was a bitter attack on the black maroon leader. The Jews of Barbados, wrote one Jewish scholar, made a good deal of their money by purchasing and hiring out Negroes. All Barbadian Jews, including the rabbi, owned black slaves. Jews warehoused so many African slaves in Barbados that Gentile authorities moved to limit the number of captives they could possess. Jews became the major traders in refuse slaves, Africans who were weak and sick from the Middle Passage voyage. Jewish traders fattened them up and sold them at a profit. Jewish scholars Isaac and Susan Emanuel reported that in Curacao, which was a major slave trading depot, the shipping business was mainly a Jewish enterprise. Rabbi Mark Lee Raphael wrote that in Curacao in the 17th century, as well as in Barbados and Jamaica in the 18th century, Jewish merchants played a major role in the slave trade. Jewish slave catchers / smugglers / breeders. Jews smuggled slaves to places where slavery was illegal, rented them when they did not want to buy, and bred African women for sexual purposes. Jews ran jails and imprisoned and punished black slaves. They served as constables, sheriffs, detectives, and bounty hunters in the slavocracy and participated in the dehumanization of black Africans. Slave smugglers and pirates like the Jewish Lafitte brothers continued the international slave trade for years after its legal end in 1807. The founders of Richmond's Jewish community were all slaveholders. Itinerant Jewish peddlers were known to search for and capture runaway slaves and bring them in for the bounty. Jews advertised openly for the return of their runaways. When slavery was outlawed in the colony of Georgia, Jews left. They returned once slavery was reinstated. In Newport, Rhode Island, the center of the rum and slave trade, every Jewish family owned black slaves. Even their synagogue was built by slaves of some skill. All 22 Newport distilleries serving the triangular slave trade were owned by Jews. Jews in civil war and slavery. The leading abolitionist organization bitterly complained that Jews have never taken any steps whatever against slavery. American rabbis owned and rented slaves. The nation's highest paid clergyman, Rabbi Morris Rapal of New York, defended slavery and claimed God himself had sanctioned it. The one rabbi who forcefully attacked slavery, Baltimore's David Einhorn, was thrown out of his own Jewish congregation and forced to flee the city. The Jewish writer Mordecai Manuel Noah was such a virulent racist that the very first black newspaper, the Freedom's Journal, was started in 1827 just to combat his racist attacks. Jewish scholar Jonathan Schorsch wrote, Jewish merchants routinely possessed enormous numbers of slaves temporarily before selling them off. The Jewish Encyclopedia adds that Jewish commercial activity in this time included a monopoly of the slave trade. The synagogue in Brazil imposed a tax on its members' slaves. Slave auctions were postponed if they fell on a Jewish holiday. When early New Yorkers sought to purchase slaves, they contacted the jobbers and the Jews, who were the recognized international dealers. The largest shipments of Africans arriving in New York in the first half of the 1700s were commissioned by Jewish merchants, Jews, and Native Americans. European encroachment created lethal conflict with the indigenous communities, and Jewish traders often supplied the Europeans with weapons and critical provisions. Once the red man was removed, it was often the Jewish traders who acquired the valuable land. One actually held title to the entire Grand Canyon, American Jewish slavers. Sugar fueled and expanded the slave trade, and according to Jewish scholars, Jews acquired large sugarcane plantations and became the leading entrepreneurs in the sugar trade. The first Jewish settlement in the United States was a Florida sugar plantation supported entirely by the labor of enslaved Africans. Caribbean and Esamerica. The Jews of Suriname owned plantations with Hebrew names like Machanaim, Nachamu, and Goshen, where, according to Dr. Marcus Arkin, they used many thousands of black slaves. Rabbi Herbert Thurtlover Bloom added that the slave trade was one of the most important Jewish activities. In 1694, Jews owned 9,000 Africans, and by 1791, there were 100 Jewish mulattoes in Suriname, the unwanted result of the rape of African women by their Jewish enslavers. Jewish historian Dr. Cecil Roth wrote that the slave revolts in parts of South America were largely directed against News, as being the greatest slaveholders of the region. Jews set up militias with the sole purpose of fighting the Black Maroons, the escaped Africans who were fighting to free their enslaved brethren. The Jewish militias murdered the Maroons and cut off their hands to award as trophies. The first Hebrew poem written in the New World, was a bitter attack on the Black Maroon leader. The Jews of Barbados, wrote one Jewish scholar, made a good deal of their money by purchasing and hiring out Negroes. All Barbadian Jews, including the rabbi, owned black slaves. Jews warehoused so many African slaves in Barbados that Gentile authorities moved to limit the number of captives they could possess.
What do you think of Putin saying that justification for continuing the war is denazification?
I thought it was one of the dumbest things I'd ever heard. I didn't even understand what it meant, especially when I decided or concluded that he really meant
Africans
it.
are not
like, that's
Israelites.
just freaking weird to me.
And Israelites are not
It's almost
Africans. Every face in the
I
photo
can think of many other
collage
examples where you're
outside the
interviewing
golden
someone else, say
picture
something
frame
that's like,
is an African Hamlet.
I was interviewing a
The
guy
golden
one
picture
time and
frame
he started
represents the
talking about
Israelites.
the
Africans
black
are beautiful and
Israelites.
exotic tribes of Ham,
And we're the real
but they are
Jews. And
not
I
the
was like,
children of Jacob.
and it wasn't
No
on camera, but
disparagement
I was
on
like, I
Africans.
don't,
The
that was
Bible
so,
is
it
only
was so
concerned
far
with
out
the
to me
scattered
that I was
lost
like, we'll
tribes of
never
Israel.
kind of understand.
Hamites are not Semites. African tribes are not
common terms on
Israelite
that.
tribes. Exodus 23:5. You shall have no other gods before me. You shall not make for yourself an idol in the form of anything in heaven above, or on the earth beneath, or in the waters below. You shall not bow down to them or worship them. Deuteronomy 18:10-12. Let no one be found among you who sacrifices their son or daughter in the fire, who practices divination or sorcery, interprets omens, engages in witchcraft, or casts spells, or who is a medium or spiritist, or who consults the dead. Anyone who does these things is detestable to the Lord.
This, that, and the third, this, that. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be totally honest with you. And I know we got to get back to our topics. We already a few minutes in. I'd rather feel in black than African American. Because Africans don't even fuck with us.
Wow.
Because they don't.
And Americans do?
Well, you're American, Mace. You're born in America. When you go to the Olympics.
The many pagan deities of Africa, Akan, Abu Mesu, Amokye, Anansi, Asaseya, Bosomtwe, Intikuma, Katarviri, Kwasebenefo, Kwekutsin, Nyame, Ovuo, Tano, Alur, Jokodudu, Bambara, Chivara, Duga, Faro, Kontron, Musokoroni, Endomadiri, Ninimini, Sanen, Suruku, Teliko, Baganda e Katonda e Kulu, Kibukale, Kitakare, Kivanukale, Mukasami, Mushisi, Nambi, Varumbe, Wanema, Wanga, Bakumono, Owazi, Boloki, Libanza, Nyambe, Dahomey, Loa, Aje, Ayaba, Da, Gebadu, Gleti, Gu, Lisa, Loco, Magu, Nanabuluku, Salosteles, Sakpata, Chevioso, Zinsi, Zinsu, Dinka, Abuk, Aiwel, Deng, Kejok, Nyalic, Efik, Abasi, Atai, Fang, Mebeje, Nzame, Fulani, Baawamde, Bagumawel, Bokonde, Baituring, Seli, Dandi, Dumuna, Foroforondu, Ga, Gorkomaudo, Gweno, Habana Koel, Hamadi, Kaidara, Kikala, Kumbasara, Kumen, Levru, Nagara, Nang, Endurbile, Nedo, Nedo Maudo, Jedo de Wal, Nunfairi, Rongo, Silesadio, Siti, Tongo, Cook, Tianaba, Jikuyu, Ngai, Hausa, Bayajida, Jiso, Igbo, Odinani, Ahanjoku, Ala, Amadioha, Agbu, Anyanvu, Ekwensu, Ikenga, Nmuomiri or Nemiri, Ogbunabali, Ijo, Ozidi, Woyengi, Kisi, Kuino, Khoikhoi, Gaunab, Haitsi Aibib, Tsuigoab, Congo, Bunzi, Chikamasi Chinwinji, Dinganga, Funza, Funzi, Kalunga, Kimbazi, Kwiti, Lubangala, Lusiemo, Lusunzi, Makanga, Makiela, Mamba Muntu, Mbantilanda, Mbenza, Mboze, Mbumba, Monimambu, Mpulubunzi, Ngonda, Ntangu, Nangutu, Nzambichi, Nzambia Mpungu, Nzazi, Nzumbi, Simbi Biamaza, Krachi, Ovuo, Bulbari, Lotuko, Ajok, Lukbara, Adroa, Adroanzi, Masai, Naiterkob, Ngai, Mbundu, daughters of sun and moon, daughters of Kalungan Gombe, goddess of moon, god of sun, Kabundungulu, Kalungan Gombe, Kimanaweze, Kishi, Kianda, Musisi, Sudikambambi, Nubian, Amesemi, Amon, Apedemak, Arensnufis, Dedun, Mandulis, Mehit, Menhit, Sebiumeker, Nuer, Quot, Nyanga, Muindo Epic, Kahindo, Kasiembe, Katee, Kense, Kiruka, Kitundukutu, Kubikubi, Mbura, Mitandi, Empaka, Mukiti, Muisa,
Musoka, Mueri, Muindo, Nkuba, Ntumba, Nyamurairi, Ongo, Yana, Lunda, Zombie, Oromo, Wak, Pygmy, Arebati, Konvum, Sawar, Jengu, Serer, Rog, Cooks, Kopetiatikak, Kokkoks, Takar, Shona, Musikavanyu, Nyadenga, Nyami Nyami, Somali, Wak, Songhai, Dongo, Faran Barukoda, Faran Makabote, Fono, Harakoidiko, Irikoi, Kirei, Manda Hausakoi, Musagname, Musanyabri, Nana Miriam, Ndebi, Nyaberi, Zaberi, Soto, Ditaolane, Tumbuka, Chiuta, Yoruba, Orisha, Aganju, Aja, Babaluaye, Eshu, Erinle, Elegua, Ibeji, Nana, Oba, Obatala, Ogun, Oko, Olokun, Osanyin, Oshun, Oshosi, Oshumare, Ori, Orunmila, Oya, Shango, Yemoya, Osun, Benda, Jubiane, Shosa, Kamata, Zulu, Hakanyana, Inkosasana, Mbaba Mwana Waresa, Unkulunkulu, Umvelingangi, Unkama, Tikoloshe, Wen the Warning God, Central Africa, Bantu mythology, Central Southeast Southern Africa, Bushongo mythology, Congo, Congo religion, Congo, Lukbara mythology, Congo, Baluba mythology, Congo, Mbuti mythology, Congo, Hausa animism, Chad, Gabon, Lotuko mythology, South Sudan, Eastern Africa, Kushite mythology, central parts of Sudan with origins in Kerma culture, Bantu mythology, Central Southeast Southern Africa, Gikuyu mythology, Kenya, Akamba mythology, Kenya, Abaluhya mythology, Kenya, Dinka religion, South Sudan, Malagasy mythology, Madagascar, Maasai mythology, Kenya, Tanzania, Kalenjin mythology, Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Dini Yamsambwa, Bungoma, Trans-Nzoia, Kenya, Wakafana, Ethiopia and Kenya, Somali mythology, Somalia, Northern Africa, Ancient Egyptian religion, Egypt, Sudan, Kemetism, Egypt, Kushite mythology, along the Nile Valley in Sudan, Punic religion, Tunisia, Algeria, Libya, traditional Berber religion, Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, Libya, Egypt, Mauritania, Mali, Niger, Chad, Burkina Faso, Southern Africa, Bantu mythology, Central, Southeast, Southern Africa, Lozi mythology, Zambia, Tumbuka mythology, Malawi, Zulu traditional religion, South Africa, Badimo, Botswana, San religion, Botswana, Namibia, and South Africa, traditional healers of South Africa, indigenous religion in Zimbabwe, Western Africa, Abwoi religion, Nigeria, Akan religion, Ghana, Ivory Coast, Dahomean religion, Benin, Togo, Efik religion, Nigeria, Cameroon, Edo religion, Benin Kingdom, Nigeria, Hausa animism, Benin, Burkina Faso, Cameroon, Ghana, Ivory Coast, Niger, Nigeria, Togo, Ijo religion, Ijo people, Nigeria, Godianism, primarily based on Odinala, Igbo people, Nigeria, Asasaya, Bano people, Ghana and Ivory Coast, Sera religion, Senegal, Gambia, Mauritania, Yoruba religion, Nigeria, Benin, Togo, Vodou, Ghana, Benin, Togo, Nigeria, Dogon religion, Mali, Ifa religion, Nigeria. The continent of Africa is vast and diverse, with thousands of African tribes and numerous languages and dialects. This diversity reflects a wide range of cultural, social, and religious practices across the continent. Among these practices are various forms of worship that have been developed independently within different communities, including witchcraft, ancestor worship, and the veneration of mythical pagan idols, among others. From the perspective of the teachings found in the Bible, particularly through the lens of the exclusive doctrine of the Israelites, any form of worship that deviates from the worship of the Lord as the one true God is considered contrary to his laws. The Bible sets forth specific commandments against practices such as idolatry, witchcraft, and the worship of spirits or animals, viewing them as abominations and strictly forbidden for the followers of the God of Israel.